Hey everybody, it's Jason with Lexington Antiques on a cold day here in South Carolina, but haven't done a video in a little while. I've actually done a couple of picks, and I wanted to share one with you, and I'll do another video soon. But this first pick, I actually bought a bunch of postcards and photos from this guy before, but went back to his house and he sold me a lot more stuff I haven't seen. So we'll check that out, and the other pick will be another video next week or two. But the first piece here is, well, this, it looks like the lid for something, but I don't know. Just grab that too. But this set of Air Force aviator wings, don't know what it was on, but look at the size of this thing. And it's all metal, it's heavy. You can see my hand with it there. I don't know if it's on some kind of plaque or what. You see it was screwed into something, but like I said, it's heavy duty. It's over a foot long, but it's really neat. Pick that up. Some more of these binders full of different photos. I think this one is, let's see what's in here. Let's say really old photos. This one's 1921. Sorry about the glare. Let's do this. Great old photos. It's a really neat one. Wreckage of a plane. And this on the back says it's a Japanese plane that were pulling out of the water. Some Navy planes. Just some more photos, but this is really cool. I know when I went to Normandy, I saw the grave of Quinton Roosevelt, who was Teddy Roosevelt's son, one of his sons. And he's actually buried, the only World War I KIA that's buried with the World War II KIAs there in the cemetery in Normandy, because his brother was also killed on D-Day. But this is really neat. I'll show this. I know the Germans made a postcard and spread it out to say Teddy Roosevelt's son, had been shot down, but apparently the Germans didn't really like it, the civilians, because I guess he was respected. And on the back here, get it out without damaging it. It actually reads, supposed to be Q Roosevelt, as the Germans found him. Hard-hitting rumor, I believe. 1918. How neat is that? Has anybody seen the photo of this like this before? Like I said, I know it was made into a postcard. I'm not sure about these photos, but let me know. And again, this one was just his grave marker before he was moved. And I won't go over these one by one. These are just some really neat photos. And this photo of all the remains there, on the back it says, this is what the Yank Army went over on their way to the front. Remains of bodies of the Battle of the Marne, 1914. Really neat. And this photo is actually of the first, according to the captions, the first machine gun, like fire from an airplane. I think that was the pilot. And I'm here, like I said, I'm here in South Carolina. We have the Citadel. I don't know if you guys are aware what the Citadel is. It's the military college here in South Carolina. And these are passes for a Citadel dance from the 30s. Really neat, as well as some photos. I'm not sure if this belonged to him or not, of a Citadel cadet, as well as this one, this Citadel cadet. Really great pieces. Some more photos and just a brochure about the Soldiers Home in California. And let me put this up and I'll get another book. All right, got another book here. He had it labeled as military photos. This is, you can see how many photos and different things are in here, but lots of Navy ships, and most of them are written on the back of what they are. This is a really neat one. I'll take the time to show you this one, but if I can get it out there. So you can see all the sailors there, command staff, all the Japanese planes and the islands that they invaded. And what's really neat about this one is on the back, not only does it have all of their names, the commanding officers, it has like a diagram to show you what each symbol meant. Isn't that really neat? So like I say, a lot of these, you can see this one too, it's written on the back of what they were. I'll put that to the side. Here's like a newsletter, World War II. These also are written on the back. I forget the ship, but you can see they're firing at a Japanese aircraft. And on one of these you can actually see it. Yeah, right there, if I can get it close enough and focused. Sorry. Barely see it right there. It's a Japanese bomber, I believe it read on the back. And that's all the anti-aircraft. And that is, I believe, that same bomber actually splashing. The crew of the USS Langley in 1944. This is 4th Division Gunnery aboard the USS Langley. This photo of a ship listing. I can't remember which one that is, but Soldiers and Sailors Songs book and this map. I'll take the time to see if I can get this open for you. Japanese Naval Ground Forces, January 15th, 1945. It shows all the different fleets and the Japanese bases. Really neat. Again, I'll put that up later. A lot more photos. This is like a postcard of the B-19. I guess somebody mailed off to get. It's in there. The USO dance. Great World War I. There's actually 2 photos of this gentleman, this soldier here. One that shows his unit patch. There. Sorry, let me get back a little bit here. Really neat, the ladies there in 1943. Anyway, it continues on. There's some photos of some soldiers digging in Germany. I can't remember exactly where. There's another one right there. So there's a lot of mixture of World War I, World War II items in here. It's just what he collected from going to sales, and he would just separate them into these books. So it's all not from one collection, it's just multiple things he's collected. And there's a lot of photos of German ships and things that were surrendered. Let's see, there's a couple of pages of that. And this really cool thing here. If anybody's seen that, let me know. I can barely read the back of what it came from. It looks like it's in pretty rough shape, but a really neat piece. I know it's from World War II because they dated it right there, 1945. Anyway, some trenches. World War I soldiers. This is a discharge paper from 1864. A gentleman from the Massachusetts Heavy Artillery Volunteers. Really neat. In great shape. Civil War letter. This one mentions some where they're getting set up for some battles, different things. Hadn't quite deciphered this one. Sometimes it gets a little tough to read, some of those older ones. And that is a discharge from like 1902, I believe, or the 20s, 1920s. Great photos again. I believe that's going to be another Citadel. This in Charleston, South Carolina. And that one. Let me grab it. Alright, and this one he just had early aviation, which it's just interesting. It's not necessarily all military. I don't know if there's any military in this one, but it's all from a early like an air race. I forget the name of it. I think it's like the Michelin Cup in France. I mean, it's just too neat. All of them have something written on the back. It's all in French. But I know one of these photos, or a few of these photos, this guy here was like a record holder for speed, I believe, and distance. And some of these early aircraft. Some of these are of his airplane. I just don't remember which ones. See, there's him sitting in the cockpit of one. And again, I would read his name, but I would probably butcher it anyway. He's a French gentleman. It's amazing to think how far we've gone, just in a really relatively short amount of time, from this type of aircraft to what we have today, like the F-22s and all those things. You see this in Paris, like displays in Paris. Some dignitaries in some of these photos. Arriving for the show. Alright, that's a neat book. And these are all, I don't know the date. These are all from the same series of photographs here. If I can get this split up. But they're from early Coast Guard. I can tell that by their uniforms there. Or I believe they're Coast Guard. And I can't remember exactly. There's no writing on these to know when the date is, but obviously it's early. Those uniforms are very early. Early 1900s, what, 1916-ish? Which one I think the Coast Guard really came into effect. Actually, these all appear to be the same crew on this little boat. Just a neat 2nd Infantry Division book from Korea. This shows the history of the 2nd Infantry in Korea. From each battalion and the different companies. Really neat book. He said he bought that for me because he knew I would enjoy it. And this is the 1936 Olympia book from the Berlin Olympics. This book isn't necessarily crazy rare or valuable, which is really interesting. How these pictures are kind of laid in and pasted to the pages instead of printed. You can see a lot of Nazi emblems and stuff, of course, because it was their heyday. When Hitler thought he was going to show the world how dominating the Aryans were. Anyway, just thought it was pretty neat. And he had told me about this book before, and I was glad he still had it when I went back. Let me set up some more photos here. They're framed. All right, these are pretty neat too. I forgot he actually sold me these before. I just didn't pick them up until recently. Just little models. Need to be cleaned up a little bit. See, that's a smaller one. The landing gear retract and everything. A great P-38. Little tabletop or shelf sitter. And this one's huge. The canopy actually opens. The propeller spins. You can't really see those. I mean, almost probably 2 feet wingspan on this thing, or close. With lots of operating little parts and pieces. Pretty neat. And this is just a stack of framed photos I got from him. Photos and different things, but these are great because they're ready to go. You know, you can go ahead and hang them up in the collection, or like me, I'll put them in the booth, hang them up there. But this one, he said he believes it's a postcard. But you can see how long it is. And I'm not sure exactly where it was taken. It's really neat, the formation. And I'm sure I could probably take the backing off, but and it might have something written on the back or tell exactly what it is, but I don't want to damage the frame. The USS von Steuben. And you can see it's set up for military transport. World War I. It's colorized. It's a great photo. And the USS America. You can see all the sailors and soldiers lined up around the decks. I'm assuming they were coming back. And we have the USS President Grant. Great with the skyline behind it. Again, you can kind of see a deck gun. And this, he said it's all handwritten with ink. I'm sure it is. But it's from the South Carolina Confederate Home College, which was an organization for widows and children of fallen Confederate soldiers. I tried looking up the name and found some information, but I'm not sure it's the same person because the Carolina isn't in there. But this was actually a diploma or degree from that school, the Confederate Home College. It dated 1911, with all the signatures, and you can see all the fine little like branch kind of ink around the letters and everything there. Just really beautiful framed piece. I'll put in the booth. And this says the officers and crew of USS Radnor, New York, May of 1919. so just after World War One. And what's interesting about this one is I don't see a lot normally. All the crew, but over here you have the African American sailors. Granted, they're separate as far as like being together. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, but I haven't seen a lot of photographs of African American sailors and troops alongside the white sailors. Anyway, nicely framed. It'll look good in any collection. Anyway, that was some of the stuff from that last pick I got. Really great guy, and it goes to show that definitely always be friendly to people. I met that guy at a flea market I was selling at, like an antique market, and exchanged information. And we're pretty similar in the fact that we buy just whatever we can find. If we like it, we buy it. And he was hoping to find somebody who sold military stuff or collected military stuff. So you never know. So make sure I always have a business card on me, even if you don't have a business, just with your information on it, and that way you can just hand it straight to them and say, here you go. I keep my email address, my cell phone, stuff like that on my name, so people can contact me. But anyway, like I said, I have another video coming up, and this stuff's right here, kind of beside me, and all that stuff came from a Army helicopter test pilot, and he actually did some crazy stuff with early helicopters as far as Vietnam era. He was a test pilot for the Apache. There's some really neat photos and awards and stuff, and even 2 of his flight helmets from that. So stay tuned for that video. But I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.